I have forged metal before forging metal was cool. I was recycling before recycling was cool because it's just that was what I had to work with. I didn't have any money to buy things, so if I needed something special, I made it myself. I just didn't know that you weren't supposed to make your own tools. When I grew up on a farm, and back then farms were essentially subsistence farms. Pretty well all the farmers in our area had to work off the farm in the winter months to make enough money, and you fixed your own farm equipment. We have a blacksmith group back home in Ontario. It's called OABA. It's been around for a long time. It's the Ontario Artist Blacksmiths Association. And I didn't even know about it. And then, guys came to my shop and they seen me forging this stuff, and they said, do you go to the OABA meetings? And I said, well, what's that? They said, well, it's the blacksmith group in Ontario. I didn't even know what it was. So eventually they talked me into going to one of their meetings. And I thought, wow, this is going to be cool. I'm going to get to go and see, these professional guys, how they do things. It was kind of a surprise to me that I, knew more about it than I thought I knew about it.
What interests you about blacksmithing?
My enjoyment is colonial American stuff and about how you replicate tools, the reverse engineering. I try to do forgings that are ready to go to work. You got to remember what did they have to work with too, and that's why I've tried to limit my demo to a hammer and an anvil. It's not hard to go at something with a belt grinder and remove a bunch of stock. It's nice to work with the tools with which our ancestors had to work with. There's no better feeling on earth than independence.
Yep, making things with your own hands.
I read a lot. I keep my eyes open. Somebody will come walking into my shop with a broken part, and before they get to me to ask me about fixing it, I'll already know what it is and how I'm going to approach fixing it. It's just a matter of being wary. Forging lends itself to making the best quality parts in the world. It allows you to make things that can't be made any other way because you are orienting the grain into the shape of the part. Like the biggest diesel engines in the world will have a forged crankshaft. There's no way to make metal better than by forging it. Right in town, I have a couple acres where my actual machine and welding shop is, where I have a couple anvils there and a forge, and I do some blacksmithing there. About 5 years ago, I built another building at our home that is just my designated blacksmith shop. I restore old machines all the time. I have an 1903 Defiance automatic copying lathe that I make axe handles and gun stocks on. I have a Barnes foot-powered screw-cutting lathe, a gunsmith's lathe from 1860 that I will demonstrate on. I will actually forge a gun part and machine it on the foot-powered lathe like it used to be done. So I've kind of got my feet in a couple different centuries. I teach a week-long class at John C. Campbell Folk School, my wife and I each, in February every year. And I have seen pretty well all the people that have been in my class here this weekend. They've all come to see me here because they enjoyed the class so much. So it's been great.
Can you tell me about what you are demonstrating today?
So this was originally asked about 2 years ago, and we committed to doing it now. Yesterday morning, I had been asked to do this additional demo of how they made vice screws. I demonstrated how to braze threads, both internal and external, how you would make that with nothing other than a hammer and an anvil and a coal fire. How did you make a thread? This morning, I made a colonial era belt axe out of wrought iron that I brought that was forged from anchor chain links out of our shipyard that are likely 150 years old with a carbon steel bit. And I made a wrought iron socket wood chisel out of the same material with a carbon steel bit. And then I demonstrated how to forge corkscrews. I try to, be very patient in showing people how I do things, so they get as much out of it. But to tell you the honest truth, as a demonstrator, I feel every time I demonstrate, I learn more than my audience. because it makes you slow down and think about what you're doing, because a lot of times you don't think about what you're doing when you're doing it in real speed. So I get more out of it than the people get out of it.
But do you have any advice for a new blacksmith?
Have patience and don't give up on yourself. A lot of people will start to do something and it won't look like they think it's, and they'll throw it away. And I never throw anything away. I complete it to show that, you know, you can come back from your errors. And, you know, they didn't throw things away 200 years ago. They made do. And so, you know, discipline and perseverance is likely the best advice, and patience. You know, be patient with yourself and be patient with your work.
Thank you so much for talking with me.
No problem.